Hi Scorpio, welcome to the full moon in Virgo and Saturn moving into Pisces. Saturn will be in Pisces for the next 3 years, but over the course of this year, it will be in Pisces for a while and then it will retreat back into Aquarius. Like a fact-finding mission, like recon. For you, Scorpio Sun, Scorpio Rising, especially, Saturn brings with it now questions about the capacities of your heart. So, we can try this simple exercise before we go any further. So if you rub your hands together, I know, what the heck is this? Just follow me for a second. If you rub your hands together, like kind of hit each palm a little bit, like get them active. Okay, you can also do this. You feel it? You feel something in your hands? Now go to your heart center, to your chest, and hold your hands out like a parenthesis. So if this is your chest, just hold your hands out like this in front of your heart. Kind of feel where you can feel the edges of an energy. If you take your hands very far away from each other and bring them closer to your center, there's somewhere where your hands will naturally begin to stop because they're sensing some kind of energetic field. This field is real, by the way. This isn't New Age stuff. Now, if you were to keep your hands there, and just for a few seconds in your mind's eye, if you were to imagine someone you really, 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 really love, and take a deep breath and just see their face. Now bring your hands out, all the way out, away from each other again, and taking a deep breath, slowly bring your hands closer together to your center. And keep that person's image in your mind. You are going to notice that your hands don't come together quite as close as they did before. Why? Because the energy of your heart center grew when you thought about the person you love. Saturn has questions about where you begin and where others end. Saturn has questions about what makes your heart beat and if it's beating enough. Saturn has questions about what's been eating at you. The reason I kind of smugly laughed when the hangman came up is because I've seen Scorpios be completely aware of the maliciousness that their anger is having towards them, the malice they're inflicting on themselves. I've seen Scorpios be self-aware enough to know what they're doing to themselves and still not be able to stop it. So in many ways, your criticism of self, this almost ruthless standard that you have to live up to with yourself, to me, it kind of reads like an addiction. Maybe because to me, when I think of addiction, one of the things that's the most, it comes to the front of my mind is that people don't want to be doing it. They can't help but to do it. right? If they could help it, they wouldn't do it anymore. It's no longer fun. They have to do it. And so they do what they have to do something that goes against their best interest, their health, their well-being, their happiness. It's that marker of addiction that resonates with me when you guys get into a space where it doesn't matter how we got there, the anger is righteous, whatever happened before this, you could be completely in the right, but there's a level that you reach where it doesn't matter anymore that you're right, because there's nobody left. It's just you. There's nobody left to blame. There's nobody left to hurt. There's nobody left to kill or get out of the way. It's just you, but the rage is still there. It was not at all quelled by doing what needed to be done. It actually made it worse. And when there's nobody else there, you do have a tendency to turn on yourself. I mean, you never tell anybody, you know. That's what I love about, like, pop astrology. I love that we've all read the same, like, 10 books. But that there are these fascinating contrasts that nobody really talks about because nobody really knows them. I think that streak you have, Saturn wants to show you how much it's holding you back in every way. Why? What do I mean? Because it's very Saturnian, right? You're planting the wrong seeds. That's a Saturn issue. That's something that, of course, Saturn's going to get triggered by that. You're planting the wrong seeds. You're planting seeds of destruction. What are you doing? When you spend that much energy, we could be talking about anything now. When you spend that much energy going against your best interest, not being able to control your temper, control your sexuality, your lust, your drive, whatever it is, your need to make money, your need to dominate, whatever it is, whatever we're indulging in, okay? When that thing overtakes you, for most of you it's anger, for some of you it's sex, and it begins to work against you and you don't even want to be doing it, but now you feel stuck in it by pride, by conviction, by strength of character, but also by stubbornness and a kind of brattiness. Perhaps not realizing how serious the implications can be of allowing yourself to get that upset. Because it's not healthy. And Saturn comes in and says, well, whether it's healthy or not, you know, not really my problem, but these tendencies, they're causing some major issues in your finances. And that is my problem. Okay? So you may think that your heart chakra and the energy coming off of it is not related to what ultimately ends up being a money reading. But you can see now how it's very much linked, right? So Saturn starts off with where are the edges of your heart? Where does your heart go to? Why is it so easy for you to get stuck in these whirlpools? Where is the person who should be able to pull you out of this? And why are you as far from them as you are? Because Saturn sees that person the person who knows you well enough or could know you well enough to call you on this behavior. Saturn comes in and says, where is that person? I can see them hovering all around you. We need to address this. And if your response is, I planted seeds that ended in destruction, Saturn's response will be, you're still planting seeds that are going to end in destruction. You're a Scorpio. That's your tendency. Along with this, you have Mars moving into Cancer later in the month, which, because you are a water sign, and now it will be in a water sign, and it's not somewhere it likes to be. Mars is in detriment in Cancer, and it's crabby. It can't wait to leave, especially because it's been having free reign. It's been having a go of it for months and months now, being in Gemini. So what does that mean for you? Well, when we're confronting the past, excuse me, having Mars in such a nostalgic area, it can make it deep. It can sting a little bit. Oh, I didn't even mean to say sting like that. But it can, it can jostle you a little bit. But it doesn't change the fact that the next 3 years calls you out on this behavior. And I think it's such a blessing because nobody can really call you out. I do it from behind a fucking screen and I still get kind of shook. You know what I mean? But Saturn can do it because Saturn means business and you understand that. So you're already starting off on a very good playing field there. But is the experience of figuring out where the boundaries of your heart are and where is your heart actually located? When Saturn GPSs all this, you're going to have to give it some answers. Why are you here and your heart is all the way over there? What's going on here? And what's the story in between from here to there? And you're going to have answers for that. And if you don't have answers for that, Saturn will pull them out of you. You'll find yourself having deep, nostalgic, vivid memories. You feel like you smelled that person's, scent somewhere, a cologne somewhere, a perfume somewhere. You see someone in a crowd that kind of looks like them. It stops your heart for a second, all this kind of stuff. Because it's still Pisces. It's Saturn. It's going to teach you the lessons it needs to teach you. It's going to, break you and reset you where it needs to reset you. But it's going to do it the Pisces way. It's all show. It's all smoke and mirrors. Yeah? So, from the 16th to the 20th, we have this amazing thing happening right across from you in Taurus, which is Venus will be in Taurus, but also the North Node is already there, and Uranus is already there. So, when the three of these come together for those 4 days, any money partnership, anything that you wanted to enhance or grow, anything that, any idea you've been playing around with and you've been like, do I have the guts to do this? And like you've been too sad to do it, you know what I mean? But you want to do it. It is time. You can get funding for something. If you start reaching out to people tomorrow, by next week, and then you hit that sweet spot of those 4 days, you can legitimately have people throwing money at you. So just understand that all this muckraking through your emotional life is not in vain. It does have real world practical benefits to your finances. Okay. Well, what do you mean? How? Well, all this is happening, especially Scorpio rising, in your relationship house. That's how. Now, how do you keep yourself from jumping the gun when things start to get a little bit easier, when money gets a little bit easier, Pluto moves into Aquarius, and you start thinking about having some heart-to-hearts with people, or going to therapy and kind of, you know, letting yourself be humble and reborn. And when all this starts, you're gonna think, I need some grounding. This is all starting to move really fast. It's all really positive. I'm beginning to understand myself and accept myself on levels that I didn't even know existed. You know, it's one of those rare times where things are going so well that you decide to go to therapy, right? And it helps you, and it helps you, and it helps you. And I think in these 3 years, you'll learn how not to run away. But that we're going to talk about in the extended, as well as this like childhood pain therapy, basically, that starts with Pluto and Aquarius. There's so many things from your past that you're carrying around in your body, and Pluto moves into Aquarius and is like, you know, we got to talk about your childhood. We got to fix some of that stuff. We got to go back there and visit some of that stuff and fix it up. Let that kid know they're not alone. And you can start doing something called quantum healing that way, actually. In the meantime, as you're trying to get your footing in all this chaos of abundance, here's a little hack. Do the boring things. Do the normal things. You know, in Zen Buddhism, they say before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Meaning, enlightenment can be what it is, obviously. But that doesn't mean that you don't live here and that you don't need warmth and hydration. You do. So even if you're in nirvana, you still need to chop that wood and carry that water. So, in the same way, you have to have these deep realizations, these life-changing epiphanies, but you still have to get on with your day-to-day life. I wonder if that's a lesson you've learned before. Well, in the extended, I'd like to talk more about Pluto and Aquarius, especially this idea of, you know, getting it out of your system, that there's going to be a quick fix to that uncomfortable energy there isn't. And then we're also going to talk about the tendency to run from the pain of failure, the humiliation of failure. And third, this is really exciting actually, I've been thinking about it a lot, seeing a new past because you're looking through new eyes. Okay? And that makes sense because you will be seeing through new eyes. Full moon reading. I love you guys. There's 3 options now. Since some people just were having an issue with Vimeo, the first link is just a link. You click it. There's nothing. You don't have to do anything. You just buy it. It comes to your email. The second link is Vimeo. Some people like it. And the third one is Patreon, where you get live readings. You have Instagram lives. These readings are up there early. The extended, everything. That's by far the most popular option. Okay? Love you. I'll see you in the extended in just a minute. And if you don't think your birthday's right around the corner, you're crazy because this year is flying by. So